Entitlement reaches all walks of life, as you'll find out in this episode of Entitled People. Our first one is from Ramen Noodles 620. In a lifetime of entitled behavior from my aunts and uncles, this one may take the cake. One of my uncles, Travis, is looking to buy a home. He mentioned this to me a couple of weeks ago and was asking about the process. I suggested that he and his family get their funds together, sooner than later. By this, I meant getting the money he's owed by my other two uncles, Randy and George. Figured they may have some other questions once they get more into the process, and did not think any more on it. For background, Randy and George owe Travis money because Travis gave them money as a down payment on a house they were all supposed to own together. Travis and Randy's family were supposed to live there, which they did for a time. Travis's family moved out due to size limitations, but were apparently paying rent there. Why it made sense to them to pay rent while having already put down a down payment in and being supposedly co-owners, I don't know. I told Travis when this all happened that he should be careful and make sure he is covered legally. He did not do that. Once he moved out, Randy and George rented out the now vacant second unit. Randy pretty much lives for free while George didn't have to put any money in to get ownership of the house. Randy and George were supposed to pay Travis back for his down payment. It's been 4 to 5 years since then. The other night, Travis called me. Starts off with small talk and then he eventually mentions buying a home again. So I ask if he has some kind of question about it for me. He says he does and he wants to know if I would sign on as support for the loan and help with the down payment. So co-signing and providing a down payment for a home I have no interest in buying or managing with someone. Travis said he spoke with Randy and George about getting his money. They told him they needed some time, but to talk to me about providing support for the loan in the meantime. Thought I heard wrong, so asked him to confirm for me that instead of getting money from his brothers that owed him, he was once again listening to their advice by coming to me to co-sign on a loan and give him money for a house. Told him no, this is not something I want to do, and then I said I had to go before hanging up. Could not believe the damn gall to even ask this. Just reinforces why I continue to keep my distance with certain family members. Something tells me those two brothers are never going to pay the other brother back unless there's something down in writing and then legal action could be taken. I'm with the OP though. This brother shouldn't be listening to the other two that clearly led him astray. And our final one is by Hold Revolutionary 666. I am still fuming a bit from this interaction I had the other night. So I work as a bartender in a state that's pretty strict with their drinking laws, and last call is 1 a.m. After a busy night at like 12:30, I had some guys come in. I greeted them by saying, "Hey, how are you doing? Can I grab your ID real quick?" By law, I have to check anyone's ID who comes into the bar. The dude sits down and goes, "You don't care about how I'm doing?" I paused since he said it in a super rude tone, and I at first didn't get what he was referencing. So then I just said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm kinda confused. I just asked you how you were doing and if I could get your ID since..." And before I could finish my sentence, he repeated himself saying, "Well, you don't care about how I'm doing, do you?" Saying it more aggressively. I just responded saying, I asked you how you were doing, and I do care, but I do really need to see your ID if you're gonna be in here since it's just the law." He then took forever to get it out, and as I'm scanning, just blurts out, "You don't care how I'm doing? And what are you, closing up the bar right now?" At this point, I've closed down one side, but people are still at the bar sitting and hanging out. Then I start to say, "Well, one, you came in here pretty abrasive yourself and not very nicely. And yeah, one half of the bar back here I'm closing up. It's been busy tonight." And again, he cuts me off and says, "Well, you don't need to have a fucking attitude, and I want a fucking beer, so you can accommodate that at least." I was taken aback. I not only had my normal customer service voice on, I was also in a great mood when greeting this guy. I was shocked he'd still demand a drink after just rudely and loudly saying this at me. All I said was, "Our cheapest beer fine with you then?" And he grumbled, "Yeah, whatever." As I'm going to grab the beer, he then goes, "Well look, I'll keep my mouth shut if you keep your mouth fucking shut while I drink this beer, and maybe I'll tip you if you shut up." I didn't even set the beer down and told him, "Okay, now I'm going to have a fucking attitude with you. Get the fuck out of the bar right now. If you don't, I'll have you removed." And as his sorry ass left, he just kept repeating, "Look, there's that attitude, bitch. What's your fucking problem? I should get this beer for free at this point." The customers drinking at the bar were shocked at what he had to say, and thankfully tipped really well, and all apologized to me for even having some random stranger talk to me like that. And I was at a loss for words over how someone could think that I'd still serve them a beer and beg for a tip after being spoken to like that. Plus, coming in before last call like that is like, dude, fuck off. If you're gonna come in so late, don't be a fucking dick about it. Edit. Thank you to everyone who has my back. Bartending is the most rewarding and fun job I've ever had, so I appreciate all the kind responses. I get he was definitely having a bad day and took it out on me, but you know we're all adults, and I luckily learned from a young age to never mess with people behind the bar. They are the key to if you'll be having a good night that night. Thanks for having my back again, guys, and fuck anyone who thinks it's chill to waltz into an establishment and treat people like shit and still expect to be served. I have patience, but nowhere close to that much patience for that shit to fly. Stay safe, people. It cracks me up that this guy still seemed to be expecting service after his horrific attitude, not to mention coming in at the very end. He was gonna get what he desired, but he couldn't keep his mouth shut. I'm glad he got kicked out, and I hope he didn't get a beer that night. Alright, that's enough entitlement for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Entitled People. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.